Eddie Jackson just got cut by the Chicago Bears, and you know Vic Fangio is watching closely because he runs his defense, and this may be the safety he's looking for. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, I can't think about here. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing. Hope you're hanging in there. We know Vic Fangio is now running the show. He runs what happens on defense. And could he be looking to bring in players that he had on other teams? One specifically comes to mind, one Eddie Jackson, who just got cut just a little while ago and is now a free agent. This would be possibly a perfect reunion for Vic Fangio and his Eagles defense. And a lot of Eagle fans want to see this. It could be really interesting. You know, this is always like the hardest time, right? Right before free agency starts, after the Super Bowl, right before free agency starts, before the combine, that period of time, and then July are like the two worst parts of the football season or all season. Those are when like things really slow down, and we're all trying to wait and figure out what the Eagles are planning. How are they going to approach this all season? How are they going to get better? How are they going to return to glory? That's going to be the question. We know the coaches they got, but the question is what players will come in with that. Ari Mariov is reporting this. Breaking. The Pound Bears are releasing safety Eddie Jackson. Now, we've talked, over the years, we have talked a ton about Eddie Jackson because there was always rumors that he was going to get traded, possibly, okay? The Bears cut him because of cap reasons. This is purely a cap hit, which means I think the guy still could play, okay? Now, Eddie Jackson is 30 years old. 30 years old, you know, it's kind of old. But for 1 year, 2 years, is it something Vic Fangio would want to do? In 2023, Jackson totaled 37 tackles, 1 interception, 5 passes defended in 12 starts for the Bears. He recorded a Pro Football Focus grade of 58.6, which is average for the position. While PFT grades are never an exact science, the Alabama product dealt with nagging injuries last season in a year where Chicago's defense finished as one of the best run defenses in football. His release, along with Cody Whitehair, saved the Bears over $20 million in space. So he is purely a cap hit. He still could play, maybe not at the level he was playing before, but let's face it, he was really, his best years really came with Vic Fangio there. Jackson turned 30 in December. Actually seems like a realistic possibility for the Eagles, according to Bleeding Green Nation. The 2017 fourth-round pick was drafted when Eagles' new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, was still the Bears' defensive coordinator. They spent 2 seasons in Chicago together before Fangio became the Denver Broncos head coach. Playing for Fangio, Jackson made 1 of 2 career Pro Bowl appearances and earned his only first-team All-Pro recognition. He had 8 interceptions in 2 years with Fangio, and then just 7 in the next 5 seasons combined. So, because of the success that he's had, he definitely could be looking at it going, oh yeah, I would love to go back and work with Vic Fangio again. I think it's something you definitely have to watch for with Eddie Jackson. The question for Eagle fans is, do you want a 30-year-old safety? You know, or do we want to actually try to get younger? For whatever reason, and I don't know. I don't know why the Eagles, I don't know why they don't put more emphasis on a safety, especially early in the draft, right? Like, you could have gotten Brian Branch last year in the draft with that second first-round pick. The Eagles chose not to, and he was pretty successful for the Detroit Lions. Every year, it seems like there's a young safety, there's somebody out there, and the Eagles don't go that route. They like signing veteran guys, maybe not a ton of money. I mean, they really hit jackpot when they signed Malcolm Jenkins, but since then, really, you had the one good year of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and we let him get away. I would love to bring C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, just to let you know. I think that would be an absolutely great move for the Eagles, but I don't know that they would. I think that C.J. Gardner-Johnson, no matter what you think of him, he gave the Eagles defense a swagger. He gave them, a kind of like kind of an attitude that they didn't have last year. And I would love to see the Eagles get that back. So a guy like C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a guy I would be interested in. Xavier McKinney from the Giants is a guy, I think would be absolutely a good fit for the Eagles. Antoine Winfield from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now that would be awesome move, but he's probably going to cost you a lot of money. But I would love to have a guy like that. There are safeties for the Eagles to get. It's all about how much they want to pay. The reason I think you have to really keep your eye on Eddie Jackson is because he's 30. He's not going to take a lot of money. He knows Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio knows him well. And I think that could be a match made in heaven. Would it be an upgrade from what we saw with Kevin Byard last year? I think so. And remember, if you cut Kevin Byard, you're talking about $14 million in cap space. That's a lot of cap space right there, okay? The Bears just cut 2 players to get $20 million. You can get $14 million with one guy. So I would definitely think that if you have that opportunity, you got to do it. I think this Eddie Jackson thing is something to keep an eye on, keep a watch on, because Vic Fangio is going to go out and get players. He is going to go out and get the players that he wants. I have no doubt about it. I look at I don't think Vic Fangio comes to Philly if he doesn't have some sort of say, some sort of sway, and some sort of power or control to say to Howie, I need this player, I need this position, and Howie's going to go and get it. We did see that with Jim Schwartz, if you remember, when he first came to the Eagles. He brought in Nigel Bradham. That was when the Eagles signed Bradham. It was like, when did the Eagles go out and sign a guy like that? Even though he wasn't a lot of money, you knew Bradham, he had some good years, and he came to Philly and he had, I thought, his best year of his career, the year we won the Super Bowl. So I think Fangio will have control and power like Jim Schwartz did. And that's why I would say the other guy I think you really have to keep your eye on in terms of guys that Vic Fangio may want to bring in. Andrew Van Ginkel. I think Andrew Van Ginkel could be a guy that the Eagles go and get. I would say, if you said to me, okay, out of all the Vic Fangio guys you think that the Eagles might bring in, who do you think they would be? I would say Eddie Jackson and Van Ginkel. Van Ginkel, he had his best year under Fangio last year. Listen to this. Van Ginkel played just one season under Fangio, but he started in 11 games for the Dolphins in 2023. He had 69 tackles, an interception, a career-high 6 sacks. Under Fangio, Van Ginkel, 6'4", 242, showed off his versatility, playing some inside linebacker, but also on the edge, especially after some injuries started piling up. The type of versatility could be intriguing for the Eagles as they start fresh with Fangio. And last offseason, Van Ginkel was thinking about leaving as a free agent when Fangio called him and told him that he thought he was a good fit for the defense. Van Ginkel ended up being the highest graded player on the Dolphins defense, according to PFF. Van Ginkel makes perfect sense to me for the Eagles. If you get him, right, and you need an extra edge rusher, he could go out there. If you get injuries at your linebacker, the off-the-ball linebacker, he could go in and play inside linebacker. He's very versatile. I really think that the Eagles should make a run at Van Ginkel. And I don't think he's going to kill you in terms of money-wise. I think he's a middle-of-the-road type cap hit. I think you can get away with it and still go out and get your premier pass rusher or whatever the Eagles choose to do. But Van Ginkel, to me, would make the most sense. Eddie Jackson is probably going to be cheap, being that he's 30 years old. I could definitely see a scenario where you get Eddie Jackson and Van Ginkel in here on defense. Vic Fangio has got a lot of control. Okay, just like I think on the other side of the ball, I think Kellen Moore is going to have a lot of control too. I think the coaches are going to look and get the guys that they like. I don't think there's any doubt about it. The question is what does our boy Nick Sirianni do? Make some cannolis, sit there, have a glass of wine, smoke a little ganja? Because you ever see him some of those press conferences like this? And his eyes are all red and bloodshot. I'm going, there's no way this dude was not smoking before the press conference. There's just no way. His eyes are glassed and red. There's no way. But I guess he's going to have plenty of time to do it because Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio are going to have way more control than the head coaches at their sides of the ball. But keep an eye out on Eddie Jackson. Keep an eye out on Van Ginkel because, I think they're both very strong possibilities to be in Philly this year. No doubt. I got to go make sure. I don't know why I call him Van Ginkel sometimes. I don't know why. It's Van Ginkel. I call him Van Ginkel. It's like it's Dick Van Dyke. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. All right. With that said, I will talk to you guys later. Take care. And of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. So did you guys see the Mark Holmes go off on Dak Prescott video? It was actually amazing. He was talking about how Dak Prescott was in the airport and all these people wanted his autograph. He started freaking out and worried that some threat was going to happen and some woman was found. Oh, that was future Eagle Micah Parsons. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just can't believe we're sitting here. It's February. And yet, Mark Holmes has not acknowledged that Dak Prescott choked again in the playoffs. When is he going to admit it? Mark Holmes, once again, I want to know, when are you going to hold your quarterback responsible? Just like last year, the year before, you let him off the hook. Denzel Washington out.